Hello guys, welcome to my channel Adamant Algorithms. This is Surain. In this short video we are going to see what are the different type of loops that are available in Unity C#. So I'm gonna use a very simple example and I'm gonna keep the example same for explaining all the four type of loops, which are number 1 while loop, number 2 do while, number 3 for loop, and number 4 for each loop. Okay, so what I have in front of me in this project is pretty much nothing. I just have one sprite, this yellow car, and I've converted that sprite into a prefab and I dragged that prefab right there, which is this. So the ultimate goal for me in this project is to move this car a few units on the right hand side, nothing else. You can easily do that in the update function, but since we are trying to learn loops in this video, so we are not going to do that. In fact, we are not going to use update function at all. Okay, so let's see the first type of loop, which is while loop. For that, I'm gonna quickly go for a script, loop compare script. It's gonna be a new script, create an add, wait for a while until it finishes compiling. Okay, that's done. Double click. Here we go. So as I said before, we don't need this update function. We don't need this extra additional stuff. Comes with the IDE. Now, in order to explain the loop, I need variables, right? A few variables. So I'm going to say public an integer type variable called moves left is equal to 5. And another public variable called, it's a bool type called is player dead. I'm going to set it to false, which means the player is not dead. Okay, so in the start function, what we're going to do is let's go for our first type of loop, which is while loop. So what's the syntax of while loop is start typing while, and if you have a very good IDE, that will show you the syntax of it already. And this is the basic syntax of while loop. So while in plain English, it also stands for the meaning when, which is the timing of something is happening, correct? And inside the brackets, you state your condition, and inside the curly brackets, which is here, you say what need to be repeated, what is your action. In other words, let me just tell you a very simple example of while, which is when the water is boiling. There is no such commands, but I'm just telling you. While the water is boiling, make tea. Makes sense, correct? So this is the condition that has to be satisfied. If that's satisfied, whatever you have written inside the body of the loop will be happening again and again until this condition becomes false. Okay, now what we're gonna do is, what is our condition for this while loop is moves left is 5. So I'm gonna use moves left is greater than 0, which means obviously yes for the first time, right? And until moves left is equal to 0, this loop is going to go again and again. And I'm gonna say move this car, right? Transform dot translate to the right direction, which is vector 3 dot right. So what this will do is it will keep moving it, and after moving to the right, I'm gonna say moves left is reduced by 1, which is moves left minus minus. Moves left plus plus stands for add 1, and moves left minus minus means just minus 1. Okay, so what this loop ultimately does is every time it's going to run, it will check the first condition, moves left, is it greater than 0? For the first time, yes, it's gonna be 5, so it will move it onto the right hand side, then reduce moves left value by 1. Okay, again the loop will go here and check the next time, hey, what's the value now? Of course it's gonna be, because it's minus 4, it's gonna be 4, which is still greater than 0. Execute again, go back and check, it's gonna be 3, hey, it's still bigger than 0. So until moves left is equal to 0, it will keep going on. Okay, this loop, that's what we're gonna check now. We'll go back here, wait for a while, let the Unity to compile. I think it's finished. Let's play and see. is maximized so we cannot see it. Alright, so now see, the car has moved 5 units, okay, because it's 5 times. So well, the thing is, if you want to visually see that, what you could do is you can say debug.log, and you can say, oops, number of steps left, number of moves left, you can say plus moves left value. So every time it minus the value, it will print also the number of moves which is left, which you can see in the console window. Oops, my console window is not at the moment open, so go for general console window, just put it right there and see. Okay, so let's play. See, moves left, the first thing it was 4 3 2 1 0, okay, and it has moved 5 units. Okay, cool, that works. That's how the while loop works. Please remember, while loop is check the condition first, and as far as the condition is not true, it will keep going again and again. So this is while loop. So I'm gonna just comment it out. So we're gonna test our next type of loop. Loop type number 2, do while. So this is what we're gonna see now. The do while loop is almost similar to, well, in fact, no, scratch that. Do while loop is entirely different from other type of loops. In fact, to be honest, it's very weird. Okay, I'll tell you why it is. What is a do like loop is? This is the syntax of do while loop, which is do what to do. Okay, inside the curly brackets, you need to say what to do, while, which is when this condition is true. Okay, so this is what the do while loop is. In fact, if you see, it's exactly right opposite to the while loop which we saw. All right, the hilarious thing about this loop is because it's very adamant in nature. Well, I'm not even afraid to say that of course it's adamant, because no matter what, it will execute what you have written here at least one time, guaranteed. Okay, so there is no failure. It will definitely run that command at least one time, then it actually comes back and check the condition. Okay, so for example, the problem with this is you say make coffee is what you do. Okay, but after making coffee, you say check whether the stove is on. It's funny, right? As you can see, it will make the coffee at least one time. Then it will see whether, I know it's kind of confusing example, but I just want to put one point across. Do while loop will not wait for the condition. It will finish what you are asking to do. Then it will come and check for the condition. Because of this nature, guys, please be very careful with using do while, because if you are not sure what you are doing, if you are not sure about the condition you are putting in, this loop will definitely enter into an infinite loop which will never stop, eventually fill up your RAM, crash your Unity project, which means it most often frees your Unity. Okay, so the thing is that I have lost a very amazing projects before when I was very new to the Unity, and I have very worst experiences with this do while, and that's why I don't use it much. The other reason with the do while is it's against how humans think. For example, we always think forward, correct? So you say if you are making a milk powder, or if you are making a coffee or making a tea, you first switch on the kettle and wait until the kettle. So the if conditions will be like if the power is on, if the kettle is on, if the water is boiling, then make tea, correct? This is how we will think. But this do while is reverse. Okay, hey, but water is boiling. Oh, I see. Okay, let me check whether the power is on. See, it's in the opposite direction. And that's why I actually see it weird. But anyway, let's see. So what to do is you need to tell what to do. So I'm not going to type it again. So I'm going to say transform.translate. Oh, okay. So I need to tell one more thing. This. Okay. What I want to say is, in this one you can also give a condition, which which means while this is the only condition, you can also add another condition in here saying double ampersand symbol, and you can go for while moves left is greater than 0 and also is player dead, okay, it's equal to false, which means when the player is only alive. So when only and only if these two things are true, then only it will keep going in this loop. Okay, if at least one condition is wrong, this loop will never execute. Okay, let's quickly go ahead and check if that works. Go to the project. As you can see here, see if I put a tick mark here, which means the player is dead. So now the player is not dead. So we make a move. Yep, that works. If the player is dead, see, nothing happens. Okay, so that's the power of this loop. Now, when coming to this while, what this guy does is I need the same thing, copy it, while the player is, I'm gonna say, is player dead, it's equal to true. What I'm saying is I'm asking this do loop to execute this only when the player is dead. Let's see what this adamant loop does. If we go here, see, I switch off the condition. See, now you guys know very well the player is not dead, correct? The player is not dead, so this loop should not run, and I press the play button. See, that moved one time, which means that loop, the adamant loop, actually executed for one single time, then checked whether the player is dead, then it found out, oh, the player is dead, oh sorry. Okay, so the thing is, that's what I'm trying to say, this loop will definitely run at least for one time. I hope this guy is easy for you to understand. The next loop is for loop, which is one of my favorite for many reasons. Okay, let's go ahead and do a for loop. Just comment it out. Okay, I'm gonna go for the for loop. What's the syntax of the for loop is for, and there we go, the infamous iterator. Okay, now let me just delete this is greater than 5. Okay, so now I'll tell you what is the condition. So the syntax is for, and this int I is equal to 0, and most of the people would get alarmed by what this kind of information is given here. Let me quickly tell you and explain what does this syntax mean. So if integer, which stands for iterator, the alphabet I has been chosen as a standard in programming because most of us are not bothered about changing this alphabet. So it doesn't mean that it has to be I. It can be anything, A, B, C, you name it, any variable. Okay, what it actually does is they have chosen I because it's the first letter of the word iterator. What is an iterator is? Iterator is nothing but a counter. Okay, so what it does is, the meaning of this syntax is in the for loop when it is starting, the iterator is going to be starting at 0. It's a common thing in programming to count from 0. We never count from 1, 2, 3. Always it's from 0. Okay, and this is our current condition. It starts from 0. If it is lesser than 5, keep doing it, which is I++. So meaning the first loop will be, I'm saying whatever I want to do here. When the I is equal to 0, the first time this loop is running, this is what happens. I is equal to 0, then check whether I is lesser than 5, which is our variable. Yes, of course it's 5, and if it is lesser than 5, execute this one time, increase the value by 1. So let me tell you the reason why it is my favorite, because it reduces one line of code that I have to write, which means in while loop I need to do some conditions like this. I have to reduce or increase the loop, but here it's already given in the syntax, so I don't have to write that line of code, and it's very robust, to be honest. Okay, all right, so instead of giving 5, what I'm gonna say is If iterator starts from 0 and iterator value is lesser than my variable, which is moves left, we know moves left has 5 is a value I++. So I'm gonna say the same thing to do here. Okay, so let's go ahead and see whether it works or not. Compilation is done. There we go. It moved 5 units, and how it worked is I already told you guys. As far as our moves left has less number than 5, it will keep going on, and once the I value becomes equal to 5, it will stop moving from there. Okay, so that's how for loop works. Now the last but not the least is for each loop. This is one of the most unique loop that is available in Unity C#, because for each loop will never work with other type of variable, but always works only with arrays. You know, arrays are collection of items, okay, and well, basically it's a, I don't know at what situation we can able to use for each loop, because it's been a while since I used it, but when I use it I always find it very efficient. Okay, just let me tell you guys how to do that. For that I have too many things in here, so I'm gonna just delete it, and I will explain you one by one. To explain this loop, I'm gonna have an array. As I said before, it works only with array, so it's gonna be a public array. And what type of array it's gonna be is game objects, and I'm gonna call it my cars. Okay, so that's gonna be the array. So before I continue, I'm gonna go back to the inspector to check whether my public array is working or not. As you can see now, you actually have your array in a form of a drop down, not exactly a drop down, but it says it's physically visible for us to change it. Now the size of the array says 0. I'm gonna say the size of the array is 3. So now you can see element 0, 1 and 2 is waiting, and as just because I mentioned this array is a type of game object, it's waiting for a game object. So now I need to just convert a few game objects. So I'm gonna move this guy in here, and I'm gonna call this car small, and I'm gonna just reduce the size to 0.3, and I'm gonna just take another copy of it, and I'm gonna call it car medium. So I'm gonna make it 0.7, okay, and I'm gonna take it Control D, and I'm gonna say it car big. So I'm gonna make it 0.9. Okay, so this car yellow, I think I need to switch off the sprite renderer so I don't have to deal with it. This is car small, this is car medium, and this is car medium, this is car big. Okay, so now I have 3 items. So the ultimate goal for our for each loop is, as the name suggests, for each, which means we have several elements here, element number 0, 1 and 2. So if you employ a for each loop, whatever condition you give inside the for each loop will go and convert and apply your rules and regulations on every object that is actually being declared inside an array. Imagine when you actually have a lot of array, like for example several coins that are falling around your scene, which will be collected by your player. At the time, if you want to just check something about what is a status of the coin or whatever, at the time if you use for each loop, you can be able to reduce and lots and lots lines of code. Okay, so coming back to here, public game object my cars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to access this here, and the syntax for each loop goes this way. So you start typing for each, and it says the ID is actually finding out my available arrays now. Now the thing is, the syntax is a bit confusing, but if you look carefully, it's pretty easy to understand. For each, as a word states, for every object that we are stored inside the array. It might have 100 objects or 1000 objects, does not matter. So for each object, that's what it means. For each object, the set of code will be applied one time at least, and it will go through all the objects at least one time, and if it does, then the loop is complete. Okay, now so variable is a local variable. We can change the name anything we want, like for example car. So car is nothing but each element that is inside your array. You know, this my cars is a set of collection, like let's say set of different type of cars collectively called my cars, and the car is you're taking one type of car from the collection. So that's what it means. So for each the local variable car in my cars, what I'm gonna do to that single car is I'm gonna move them, as I said before, like transform.control-v. This is what I'm gonna do, but you need to mention or transform.translate, because I'm moving. If you don't say this, Unity does not know what to translate. Okay, so now since you said car.transform, then okay, so you want me to move each and every car in the array. That's what it does. So let's see whether it works. Go to this, wait for it to compile. You just click the play button and nothing happens. The variable my car, oh, see, the thing is I forgot to assign, the game object. So element 0 is going to be car small and car medium, then car big. So we will see whether this works or not. Go to the play button. There we go. So what happens now ultimately is for each loop I've actually moved all the elements inside an array to the right hand side. Okay, and as you can see, it's not covering the distance, because last time we said until 5 is done you keep moving. Now we did not say how many numbers, so obviously it will just move only one unit. But the use of for each loop is completely different than the other type of loops which we have seen before. Okay guys, so the thing is, this is how I try to keep the explanation of loop as simple as possible. Hope this actually gave you an idea of how a loop works and how you can able to employ them for a different type of uses in your own project. Well, if you have come this far in this video, I think you like the content of the channel and also this video, and please do support me by subscribing to my channel, and I would promise you that I will keep bringing a lot of free stuff on your way. Okay, so until I meet you guys in my next tutorial, and it's bye from me, and it's Suren signing off. Have a nice day. Bye bye.